Namaste, angels. This is the biweekly reading for the period of today, December 31st, New Year's Eve, the last day of the year, the last day of the decade, through January 12th. So the plan is, God willing, to return on January 13th with your next biweekly reading, provided that the response to these is good. So what I'm doing now is, a couple weeks ago, I pledged to, going forward, only do biweekly readings for the earth signs, and I followed through with that. The last time I did it, I only read for Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn. And subsequent to that, a couple people asked me, would I mind doing Sagittarius specifically? It was quite a few people actually. They wanted Sagittarius, maybe because it was their birthday month at the time too. That may have been why. And I said, okay, I don't mind doing Sagittarius. I'll do that. And then most recently, somebody said, would you, mind considering doing one reading for each of the remaining elements? So one for fire, one for water, one for air. And I said, you know what? That sounds really, really fair. And we'll see how the response to that goes. So this is the one for water. So Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces all in one reading. I did air prior to you, and I think that some of you, as well as some of the air signs, either dealing with air signs as well, fire, air, fire, water, different combinations of those, and that a Scorpio specifically and an air sign, I'm not sure which one, or some Scorpios and some air signs maybe have really come to a crossroad and they need to figure out what they're doing with their relationship. Looking at your spread now, it looks like some may have even been, ghosted, as they say. I don't know if the Scorpio may have ghosted the air sign or the air sign ghosted the Scorpio. It's more likely that the Scorpio ghosted the air sign, because air signs, we don't mind talking and saying like what our problem or deal is. And Scorpios kind of want you to, they get kind of annoyed that you don't know, that you're not as, able to reach the depth that they're at. And I don't say, I love Scorpios, so I don't say that to make fun of them. It's just the truth. My baby is a Scorpio. My mom is a Scorpio. My ex is a Scorpio. One of my best friends is a Scorpio. So, I don't have any issues, but it's just the way that you are. They go quiet and stuff like that. So Scorpio may have ghosted an air sign, and you can't sweep it under the rug anymore. Even if you've been in separation, as they say, been apart, this 2 weeks could very well be the time when you return to their life or they return to your life, whatever the dynamic was, and whatever those issues that you had were, that you just like continue to sweep under the rug, sweep under the rug, sweep under the rug, you're finally going to decide to address them. Even if that just means coming out and communicating. You got an Eight of Wands there in your position of love and relationship, although it's in reverse. Coming out and communicating, this is why I left. I'm back, or I've moved on, but I wanted to be honest with you and let you know. Whatever the situation is, stuff coming out this week. So your overall focus, or the most direct focus for you guys, is Major Arcana card Judgment. And Judgment from this deck actually showed up in the air sign reading, and Judgment is representative of the planet Pluto and the sign of Scorpio, which it rules. You look at it, it's like this. It's like Archangel Gabriel blowing the trumpet, which is funny because just 2 weeks ago, I named my general reading for, divine beings, spiritual beings, twin flame relationships, sacred unions, all that. I named that general reading for those people who identify in that way, Sound the Trumpets. And there were a couple of reports over the weekend from the Middle East, like Israel and stuff, where people were hearing trumpets and like looking for the Messiah, waiting for the Messiah to show up. So that's pretty interesting. And also I had another one of my sort of predictions to come true in that regard. That's the following week after that, I had named the love reading something about Phoenix. The love rises, love takes flight like a phoenix or something like that. And the thumbnail was of a phoenix. And I had gone on and on about the phoenix and the history and what it means. It Scorpio, it's tied to the energy of Scorpio too, by the way. I went into this whole thing, and I said, at the time I was like, I don't know why I did all that talking about this card. Well, sure enough, the image of a phoenix appeared in lava in Sicily over the weekend. Reports came out of there, and in Ireland in the Northern Lights. I've posted both on my social media, so if you haven't seen them, that's on my Facebook. It's on my YouTube also, my community tab. Both of those things. So I just got off on that tangent because of the trumpet again. But yeah, it's like Archangel Gabriel sounding the trumpet, and these people are in purgatory, awaiting final judgment after their death. And of course, death also connected to the sign of Scorpio. So Judgment in reverse. Judgment is one of my favorite cards, honestly. And Judgment in reverse is simply about, at least from a general standpoint, being careful not to jump to conclusions. It indicates that you have had a tendency, or you will have a tendency over the next 2 weeks perhaps, of jumping to conclusions and making presumptions, and then maybe very, Scorpio-like or water sign-like, shrinking back and getting quiet. These things need to be communicated. If you, are having some sort of sense of something, feeling some kind of way, as they say, about something, especially if it's with your romantic partner and somebody you care about, whether you want to continue the relationship with them or not, it warrants, communication in all fairness. In terms of work, Judgment for me in general is about abundance that is earned. And so with work, it can mean like you're being watched, sort of, you're awaiting final judgment. Your boss is Archangel Gabriel, right? And he's watching you, she's watching you, and they're going to make some sort of judgment call. It might be a good time for you to put in a little extra effort, knowing that you are under, a watchful eye. And then when you get news about a bonus, about raise, about, transfer to a new position or something, or about a job that you've applied for, if you're out of work, the news is very likely to be good with Judgment showing up like that. And actually, it's sitting over your position of work and finance, which is the Seven of Swords. And that too can mean that you're under some sort of scrutiny and a careful, watchful eye. So like it's not a good time to slack off or anything like that. In terms of love, in reverse, Judgment can mean that it's time for you to be clear about what you want out of the relationship, So just like I was saying, it's time to communicate and be fair, not to just jump to a conclusion and say, they feel this way or they feel that way. Let them tell you how they feel, It's positive or negative conclusions. Neither one is good right now or ever, really. So don't assume. Assuming makes an ass out of you and me is the old saying that we used to have. Don't assume. Instead, talk. Have real conversations like grown-ups. And if you're looking for a new relationship, and you may meet somebody, it's one of those times, again, abundance that is earned. So somebody could be coming your way. Slow and steady is going to win the race. There could be some delay in the connection actually picking up with the Eight of Wands in reverse, crossing the Judgment in reverse. But it will, come around in due time. So just be patient. In terms of finances specifically, different, abundance, money, different types of contracts. So new situations could be coming your way right now, or likely headed your way right now. And it's just things on a really positive, upswing. But it's going to be very careful that you are sort of meticulous about details and those contracts, that paperwork, that you do everything correctly. And even in terms of judgments, like it's not a good time to it's not a good time to break the law. Not as if it ever is, but sometimes with this, what can come up is like speeding, different traffic issues, insurance issues, and like tickets and stuff. So you just want to be careful about that. There's no chariot here because that would really, really like cement it, but that can be an issue. Did I talk about spirituality with judgment? I don't think I did. You could really be, focused on that right now. And again, in my readings for the collective of the elect and the illumined, I have seen a lot of ascension and awakening and reawakening, particularly for masculine archetypes, although for everybody. So you could be definitely dealing with some of that too, especially being, the water, the emotions, and the very naturally intuitive bunch that you guys are. You could really, really be feeling it in that area too, and may want to spend some time by yourself for those reasons. It's still okay to spend time by yourself. It's always going to be okay to do that. It's always going to be okay for you to pull away from people if you have to, and spend some time nurturing yourself. But the difference between that and ghosting somebody and keeping them in the dark about why you left or where you stand, what they did wrong, if somebody is supposed to have cared about, you know what I mean? Health, particularly Scorpio, is very physical body, like the ruler of physical body, and into exercise and things like that. So you're going to want to tend to yourself if, with this judgment showing up, you're going to want to tend to yourself if you feel anything, like make an appointment if you feel that something is off. It's a good time to let go of any negative emotions that you may be holding on to. So things like regret, resentment, the inability to forgive, guilt, blame, ego, fear. Those might be the kind of things that you need to communicate and talk about. Maybe you just presumed again, well, you should know, that I feel like this or whatever. No, they don't know. And now it's time to talk about it because you've been holding it in. It's just been hurting you. It hasn't been affecting the other person. So that's why it's the time to talk. But that could be affecting your health adversely. So definitely let go of those energies. Even if you decide not to communicate with somebody, period, for yourself, still work on releasing those things. If somebody did you wrong, you don't have to. This is a crossroad again. You don't have to be their friend again or be their romantic interest or partner again, but it is helpful to you to forgive and to let it go. So, and to think positive as it relates to your health. The Six of Cups in reverse that is surrounding you could be relating to friends, family, co-workers, something going on at the job. Could be tied into the relationship. Six of Cups often, connected to soulmate relationships or people from our past that are returning. Again, something very likely is coming up from your past to be addressed now, to be revisited. As it relates to love, it tends to say that very soon you're going to be communicating some issues that you've been avoiding. And if you're in a committed relationship and you've been sweeping things under the rug, as they say, they're going to come up and it's time to deal with them and not continue to sweep them under the rug. And, like maybe you've been afraid to do that because you figured out, if we talk about this, we're going to break up or whatever. But really what's going to help to heal the relationship and to keep things peaceful and harmonious is to allow them to surface and to deal with them. If you're single and you're looking for love, you might want to look and see, take a look in the mirror, as they say, and see if there are behaviors, things that you've been doing or not doing that have, been a block. And do it without judgment, without blame, but just acknowledging, oh, Well, I haven't been going out to try to meet anybody. Maybe I should change that, because a man's not going to fall out of the sky. Like, so without blame, you can acknowledge what you've been doing or not doing. And that's what the Six of Cups is about in relation to love. For work, you could have had like a really awesome start, and you're still doing well at the job, but the honeymoon is over, as they say, and you're having to look at things as they are. No more like rose-colored glasses. You may be being watched there too, and there could have been some way that you were wronged at the job. Maybe something was taken from you. Maybe your check was short or something. With the Seven of Swords, can be about thievery, loss. So that you may need to address some sort of wrong or perceived wrong. It is under judgment, so it could be you being judgy and thinking, once presuming something that's not accurate. If you have a conflict with another person, choose your battles. There's like another one of those sayings that says like most battles aren't worth fighting. So find out if it is really something that you need to confront somebody about or not. Certainly don't accuse anybody of stealing or anything if you don't have anything tangible, any tangible reason to suggest that they did, especially not at work. I mean, because again, you're under a watchful eye right now too, and you don't want the boss to be like, you know what, this is like a troublemaker and we don't need them around here, and just, take it out on you. You or somebody close to you, again, could have been turning a blind eye, or maybe turning a blind eye to some sort of health matter. Again, I think it could in part be you, at least, because you've been holding on to issues where you judge somebody wrongly, or yourself, and you've been holding on to those negative emotions. So again, something may be needing to be addressed health-wise. Your work and finance, specifically, that's Seven of Swords in reverse. So again, it can mean that you're under a watchful eye. It's not the time to slack off or do anything crazy. Something that to you is not a big deal. Thinking of like the theft, like, you took home some supplies or whatever, and it's like, so what? Like, this is not a big deal. May come off as like a huge, like you broke their trust. And, so again, you're not judging it. You're not thinking of it in it, like it really matters. But they, the person that was affected, is saying like, how could you? I trusted you. And there is potential for a person to lose their job because of stuff like that. So just be careful. It's not worth it. If you're looking for work, however, contrarily, if you're looking for work, this card shows up. It's for you to really play up the fact that you are dependable, you are trustworthy, they can count on you, and make sure that comes out in your interview and or is conveyed in like the letter that you write, that you send along, cover letter that you send along with your resume, however it is you're applying. So that takes us to the Eight of Wands in reverse. You may be feeling guilty about something when you receive the reverse Eight of Wands, and it's crossing judgment and sitting next to, a card of potential thievery. So maybe that is like literally feeling guilty because you did something that you kind of know wasn't the right thing to do. Change your behavior. That's the simplest way to deal with it. Forgive yourself. Don't hold on to negative emotions. It's not good for your health. It's not good in general. At work, there may be, again, disagreements and things when the Eight of Wands shows up, but it's specifically in that placement of love and relationship. Jealousy could be an issue. It's still about presumption. It's still about, thinking the wrong thing, thinking that somebody is trying to hurt you, steal from you, pull one over on you. To just don't go off on anybody. Don't confront anybody. unless you really feel sure or you're ready to deal with whatever the consequences are. On a more positive note, again, the Eight of Wands is about the universe working behind the scenes to help you to put things together. All kinds of things are going on to improve your life. And it is about communication. So when it's in reverse, the communication is delayed. Something is held up in the mail, which, is often the case during the holidays and stuff. A phone call didn't come through. A text didn't come through. Like yesterday, I was having a conversation with my dad via text. And some of the stuff he had sent me the day before. For whatever reason, I was just getting it. We both have the same phone service, Sprint. We both have iPhones, but whatever. I don't know. I got his message later, so I didn't understand what the hell he was talking about. That kind of situation could just pop off unnecessarily. Like if I had received it and taken it some kind of way and responded some kind of way, then I'd be having a problem with my dad for no reason, only because something was delayed that it confused the whole conversation. So that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, make sure you know what you're talking about or what you're potentially getting into before you confront anybody without having like any real information. I want to talk about this card. 19 Shine in my Psychic Tarot for the Heart deck. It's like the sun, but all of their cards in this deck are like specific to love. So I do want to read this one from the book. I've been reading any black bordered cards because those are like their major arcana cards from the book just to, get the additional messages out. But behind it is like a Four of Cups kind of card. Opportunity beckons. It means that you have a lot of possibilities, a lot of things going on around you from which you can benefit, but you're going to have to come out of your shell. Whether you are indeed a Scorpio or you're a Pisces or you're a Cancer or you're dealing with one, you're going to have to come out of your shell, shine, shine bright, right? Communicate effectively, clearly, say what you mean what you say. Deal with issues and conflicts head on if they're worth dealing with. Some conflicts, some fights are not worth fighting. Let it go. You don't have to fight every single battle. That's what your next 2 weeks are going to be about. In the traditional tarot, Major Arcana card 19, again, by the way, represents the sign of Sagittarius. And which brings me to the fact that I failed to mention that the overall energy is Major Arcana card Temperance, card number 14, which also in the tarot represents the sign of Sagittarius, but for me is additionally representative of air signs, but particularly the sign of Aquarius, the water bearer, because there is a water bearer on the card. There is an angel pouring water between two vessels while standing in a pool of water. That's a water bearer. So also the energy of Aquarius. And I had mentioned in the beginning that I felt air signs dealing with water signs and or fire signs, which would be Sagittarius. And I was saying that based on the readings that I did for those elements, not even paying attention to this. In fact, again, I almost missed Temperance completely. So Temperance, as it relates to love, just to give you an idea of what can be going on here, somebody could be feeling like you're stealing or taking for granted the efforts that you're putting in. When Temperance shows up in reverse in relation to love, it's about imbalance. Like I feel like I'm giving 300% to the relationship. You're giving, 10, or you could feel the same way. And we could both feel that way at the same time. We could both be having that kind of judgment about the other, feeling that, we're carrying the whole load. So that's another reason that you need to talk. At work, it's not a good time to take the fall for everybody, to pull like a Jerry Maguire and be a maverick or a lone wolf. Be a team player. Again, you're under a watchful eye, and there's a way to behave right now. It's just 2 weeks. You can do it. In a general sense, for me, specifically, the way I read Temperance, it's a very healing and what I call a holding relationship. If you had lost something, it's about recovery, restoration, being made whole again, things coming back into balance for you, but it's in reverse. So it could be the contrary right now, right? You're feeling sort of upside down in a more literal sense. And, you know, it could be a time for you to look at, again, what's my role in this situation? What did I do or not do to contribute to it? And let's find, you know, the happy medium for us all to collaborate and, you know, make some concessions and negotiate and all of that, right? Cooperate. All those words are in with 8. Yeah. All right. So shine from the book. Believe, realize, harness, enthusiasm, potential, and breakthrough. Those are key words associated with the card. This card symbolizes the positive and powerful energy that now surrounds you. By embracing this energy, you can improve current relationships and draw new ones to you. See yourself in a glowing orb of brilliant, glowing, golden light. Believe in the power of this light to infuse your relationships with enthusiasm, life, and greater love and understanding. See it moving outward, surrounding all of the people that you know and filling them with joy and hope. Visualization can be quite powerful, so use it to magnetize and to attract what you want in your life. It's also time for you to let your own light shine. You are an amazing being. You are magnificent. Realizing and believing this is key to unlocking your personal potential. Be confident in your dealings with others. Use your talents to point to relationships in positive, empowering directions. Letting your own light shine will act as a beacon to attract others to you, people of like minds and similar vibrations. It will also encourage others to let their own light shine. Harness the amazing energy surrounding you and shining from within you. Use this energy to break through any obstructions that stand in the way of complete happiness. Know that you deserve the best. People are attracted to you when you are joyful, enthusiastic, and confident. Radiate these qualities into the world and see what beautiful things you attract. And this affirmation may help you to do that. I shine my light out into the world and joyfully attract all that I desire. Yes, you can be out in front of the world. No need for you to shrink back. No need for you to hold on to negative emotions and to place blame on yourself or anyone else. Let's all move on with positive energy. And if you got to let somebody go, that's fine. But let go of the negative energy too. I hope you guys have enjoyed your biweekly reading and you find it helpful. I, again, will be back, God willing, on the 13th. If you like the video, please actually like the video. If you're not yet a subscriber, please consider hitting the subscribe button and the bell button. Namaste.